President Trump says he wants to require all voters to show a photo ID when they go to the polls. The president was in Tampa, Florida last night for a rally ahead of the state's primary this month. Mr. Trump pushed for voter ID by making an erroneous comparison with grocery shopping.
You know, if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need ID. You go out and you want to buy anything, you need ID and you need your picture.
A photo ID is only required for buying certain items such as alcohol, cigarettes, and certain medications.
You are approaching the security checkpoint. Please have your identification.
Are you ready for Real ID? Starting October 2020, you'll need a federal-compliant Real ID driver's license or ID card to board a domestic flight. You can also use a TSA.
In a little more than 2 years, did you know that your standard New York State driver's license will no longer be accepted at the airport when you're traveling? So that's why the DMV is urging people now to get what is called Real ID. It's something new. 7 Eyewitness News reporter Sean Robson explains tonight why this change is being made and what your options are.
Starting in October 2020, just showing your standard driver's license to the TSA officer won't be enough to get you past airport security. But this will. Say hello to the Real ID, a federally issued license that can be used much like an enhanced license or passport. It has a star in the upper right-hand corner. Think of it as a national driver's license, still with a unique look for each state, but with increased security features that make them much harder to recreate.
After 9/11, the federal government wanted all states to comply to a standard identification.
So what's the difference between a Real ID and an enhanced license? Only U.S. citizens can carry an enhanced license, while the Real ID can be used by non-citizens who have proven they are in this country legally.
This will be accessible through a federal database that, depending upon what state you're in, they'll be able to check and verify your status, whether it's New York State or another state. So it's a good thing. It's going to be a positive thing for the safety of the citizens.
But our next guest says it could crack down on you and your privacy. Congressman Ron Paul is a Texas Republican. He's opposed to this card. Congressman, afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Nice to be with you.
It's a great pleasure to have you. All right, so what's the problem with the national ID card? Because its proponents say this is it. This is the thing that's going to finally help us stop illegal immigrants from coming in here and taking jobs.
Well, we do have a problem with illegal immigration, but I would say the problems of every American citizen carrying their papers for wherever they go is a much worse problem than illegal There have been some who have wanted this national ID card, and they're looking for every opportunity to do it. And this is it. I mean, who knows what will come of it? My guess is they'll probably have a GPS chip in there so that they can measure everybody, every instant, no matter where they go. So to me, it violates the whole principles of privacy, the principles of the Constitution, the principles of the Republic. And to me, it's a gross distortion of what we should be doing. It's part of an authoritarian society. And dictatorships have this, but not a
I would want to get your thoughts on this before I let you go. What do you think the government might do to us if we all had a national ID card?
Well, they would monitor everything that we do. And surveillance, the lack of privacy, it's always for good purposes. Everything is for good, and they're going to get rid of illegal immigration. They're going to find the criminals, but they're also going to monitor every single person, every single thing they do. It's sort of this idea of why not have cameras every place on every street corner, because we'll catch the bad guy. Well, why don't they have cameras in our house in case there's child beating or wife beating? I mean, that's when one thing leads to another. You either believe in freedom or you don't. If you think you need supervision and surveillance constantly by your government, and right now, the degree of confidence and trust in our government is very, very low. To turn this additional tool over to the government, to me, should outrage the American people. And so far, the people I hear from
There's a growing number of ways you can be followed, tracked, or recognized by new technologies. For example, the Orlando Police Department plans on continuing a facial recognition program from Amazon called recognition. Advocates say it's used to find suspects and abduction victims. However, the ACLU and other privacy groups say the technology is primed for abuse in the hands of governments. For more, we turn to cybersecurity expert John McAfee. Let me ask you, is it true, I hear a lot that the government is collecting data on every email, every telephone call, and every text we make, and they're actually storing it. Is that true? Is that happening?
No, absolutely. And Google has admitted to cooperating with various agencies within the government to pass information about its clients. Now, maybe they're cooperating because of a subpoena or a court order, but still, it sounds an alarm.
Well, John, let me play devil's advocate right now, as many people are saying that work for Google are saying, well, listen, a lot of this information are things that you volunteer yourself. I mean, you put as much information out there on the web through your social media, Facebook page. You put pictures of your children, their names, the schools they go to. You volunteer this information. So what's the difference between you volunteering it and the government collecting it?
Well, it's not a matter of what's the difference. The problem is, why is the government collecting it? Sure, you put a lot of information out there, and I would use it for entertainment. You know, photos of your dog, how wonderful, or photos of your house, or whatever. Yes, you put that information there, but I don't go into it to try to spy on you or to try to collect data on all the citizenry to make sure that we are all in line and not breaking laws and not in any way threatening the status quo of the government. This is the problem. Not we volunteer it, sure we volunteer it, but the government goes out of its way to collect it, collate it, and analyze it. That's the problem.
Facial recognition is already here. It's already working and it's already in use.
Facial recognition technology is another example of an AI-based system that I don't think we're fully thinking through the social and legal implications, so it can have accuracy issues and just identifying
We already
people.
now, most of us, submit facial recognition openly through our use of social media, where we've agreed to policies that recognise us when we upload pictures of ourselves and our loved ones and our friends.
And when that technology is used by government to either identify an individual as a suspect of a crime, it's concerning because it sort of flips our presumption of innocence that I think our society is based on in the wrong direction, in that everyone is considered a suspect, and you're even more of a suspect if you're a person of color.
A controversial new surveillance program targeting American citizens has just been exposed, and now the TSA is under scrutiny. Manila Chan has been following the story. What's going on at the airport?
Hey there, Holland. As you know, always move in there at the airport, no pun intended. This is certainly teetering, though, on legal and ethical boundaries, since the surveillance is on people who are not on any sort of terror watch list or any sort of database, and that's all according to a new report by the Boston Globe, who first broke this story. Now, it's called Quiet Skies, the TSA's covert plan to track U.S. citizens who come back to the country from overseas. Thousands of Americans have reportedly been subject to this sort of surveillance at the airport and in the plane by armed federal air marshals. It's unclear exactly what sort of actions or behaviors a person might exhibit in order to be tracked by air marshals in the first place. Actions or characteristics can land you with a pair of eyes watching your every move for up to 90 days or 3 encounters, and you're never notified at all that you have been placed on the TSA's
A TSA
secret
domestic
list.
surveillance system is drawing criticism for tagging ordinary U.S. citizens not suspected of any crimes. The Quiet Skies program was first reported by the Boston Globe. A computer algorithm spots flyers, including American citizens, whose travel and activities match with current threat intelligence. Those flyers are then reviewed by a human team that vets the information and the flyer. If something in the flyer's background raises concerns, that flyer may be surveilled by federal air marshals. The program has been in existence since 2010.
The program is called Quiet Skies. Federal air marshals following 2 to 3 dozen Americans every day through airports and onto planes, even sitting right next to them. The marshals told to report back if the traveler changes clothes in a restroom, perspires excessively, fidgets, trembles, or stares, uses a phone or computer. Passengers are selected for monitoring if their foreign travel and other factors raise concerns, including criminal records, curious financial transactions, email or phone numbers linked to terrorist suspects. NBC News the primary purpose of this program is to ensure passengers and flight crew are protected during air travel. We recently talked to TSA Chief David Pekoski about the air marshals.
For passengers, I think they should feel very safe and secure that we have a Federal Air Marshal Service that does provide that in-flight security.
But travelers are never told they've been followed, their activities documented, raising privacy concerns.
It should go without saying that government agents shouldn't be monitoring travelers without a good reason for doing so.